You're listening to Packers Blitz with my co-host Andy, the podcast done by two diehard Packer fans who survived Packer football of the 80s and live to talk about it. This podcast is dedicated to the greatest fans, Packer fans. I really laughed on that one, but that's okay because I think we need a little bit of laughter after the Detroit game. So thanks for listening. Geez, I almost forgot, Andy. This is episode 10. It is
Yay.
awesome. Episode 10, buddy.
Yeah, double digits.
There we go. So, just really quickly, I want to thank all the people who have been listening. I know a lot of friends and family have been listening. Thank you so much. But I know there's fans out there from different parts of the world, from different parts of the United States, like California, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Canada. Andy, you kind of pissed them off. Way to go. Just kidding, yeah.
You're welcome.
Then we got Michigan who just came in. And guess what? Minnesota. We have some people listening from Minnesota. Viking fans, Look, let's be honest. You don't like us and we don't like you, but we respect each other, right, Andy?
Yeah, we do.
Justin Jefferson is a hell of a player. We Packers would love to have him. Any team would love to have him. So respect. You're going to get boat raced in the divisional game, but that's just our opinion, or I should say my opinion. But here's something else that I just found out. Andy, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The Netherlands, they're listening to us. So wow. I love it.
It's awesome.
So let's get a little bit serious here for a sec. Damar Hamlin, he's getting better now, which is so awesome. We know as football fans, whether you're Packer fans or whoever you root for, football is a brutal, but beautiful game. But it's also beautiful when people come together and wish this young man all the best. I mean, here at Packers Blitz, we hope Damar has a great recovery and a long life. So, Andy, what else would you like to talk about that? Because it was really shocking to see that, right?
It was. Yeah, so well said, John. Well said. I, along with millions of NFL football fans, were just shocked to see that. It was a scary night. I'm glad and relieved that he has been released from the hospital and returned home to Buffalo. I thought that the Cincinnati Bengals fans were classy.
Very
thought
classy.
That the Bills and Bengals organizations handled the situation with grace and dignity. The NFL did the right thing. The NFL did not resume the game and ended up canceling it. The whole nation and the NFL football community came together to support Damar Hamlin and his family in their time of need. That was extremely positive and very uplifting. The game of football is just a game, John, as you and I know, and life, family, brotherhood, all those things, it's just more important. And I think that we all hope that Damar fully recovers soon. And so I just want to say, very well said, John, and hello, and welcome everybody to welcome Packers Nation to Packers Blitz.
So first, before we start, this podcast was designed to have fun and done by two guys, like I said, who survived the 80s, who saw the worst football of Packers. Kind of saw that a little bit, actually a lot of it on Sunday. So first of all, I want to start out with some real interesting news that just came across this afternoon. And I'm not sure if it's good or not. Andy and I kind of were talking about this before the show. So if you saw Aaron Rodgers' press conference, he was like, I need a little time, and he kind of went around and around. He's like, well, the carousel stopped. You got to get off. But I think we have talent. And you're like, well, what? So you come and you going. So I thought, just like Andy, we both thought that Aaron Rodgers would go away for a couple weeks, kind of hold us hostage, maybe go away for a month like he did the other time. And he was with some movie stars and they're showing pictures from Hawaii or Cabo or wherever they were, having fun and drinking and all that good stuff. But today and tomorrow, Aaron Rodgers is meeting with LaFleur, Goody, and Mark Murphy and some other people. So this is just me to speculate. I think Aaron Rodgers understands that he can't hold us hostage, which is a good thing. And again, I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy. So, I understand how people can be critical of him. And we'll go on that through some of the news and notes, too, and some of the game review. And by the way, my good buddy Andy has some venting to do, which is all good for us. That's why we did this podcast. But I think, Andy, what do you think? You think that's good that they're trying to get it out of the way, whether he comes back or he doesn't? What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's kind of the timing is just kind of it's a little bit weird. I don't know what else to say. That it just doesn't seem to be a logical time. You would think after we had just lost on Sunday, of course, that give Aaron maybe a little bit of time just to collect his thoughts or whatnot. But I guess that's not happening. So.
No.
They feel it's important to communicate and to hash it out and talk it out right away, and they don't want to wait. I think it's probably a good thing from the standpoint it's not going to get into the media. As far as the media is not going to become the center of attention where the media is talking about this and that and speculating, coming up with all these rumors. And maybe a united front by the Packers organization and Aaron Rodgers will maybe be a good thing if they can both come up with a statement or something to give the media something. And then maybe they can move on for, a few months or a few weeks or whatever it takes. Or it may be something totally different that you and I don't want to even speculate on. Who knows what it could be. But
yeah.
But it's kind of that wound that festers, John. And the thing is, when the media gets any inkling that there might be something going on behind the scenes, and then they start doing this, he said, she said, what he said, or whatever. It just you don't want that either. So
no, you don't want that either. So moving on. We do have something positive to mention. So Troy Vincent, former Badger. Tell about that. Some good news about him.
Yeah, Troy Vincent, an awesome cornerback at the University of Wisconsin from the late 1980s and early 1990s, was named part of the 2023 College Football Hall of Fame class. And yes, Packer fans and fans out there all over the world, I did say Wisconsin the correct way. It's Wisconsin, not Wisconsin.
Yes,
sorry, I'm getting off a little bit. When I said it, I was like, I'm listening to myself, and I'm like, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Troy Vincent is significant to Packers fans because the Packers could have selected him with the 5th pick in the first round of the 1992 draft. Instead, the Packers selected one of John's favorite Packers players, cornerback Terrell Buckley. And the Miami Dolphins selected Troy Vincent with the 7th pick. Let's just say that the rest is history. Troy
Mhm.
went on to have a stellar 14-year NFL career that is
Yes, he
worthy
did.
of the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Terrell
Mhm.
Buckley did not.
No, he did not.
Terrell did play 13 years in the NFL somehow,
He did.
and only 3 long years for the green and gold. So,
Yeah.
John, what was your nickname for Terrell Buckley and why?
T. Suckley, because he couldn't cover anybody. And yeah, that was and really he started out good. If you guys remember, because I'm a big history guy, if you remember, he did return a punt for a touchdown, and he was doing like a Deion Sanders thing when he scored. Other than that, yeah, he got burned quite a bit and really cost us quite a bit of pain watching him getting lit up every day. So
Yeah, plus
yeah,
he was a small cover corner, and Troy Vincent was a man's man. He was a
yeah, he's a
big
physical guy.
corner, big
Yeah,
physical corner, and I just thought a better individual too than Terrell was. Terrell liked to talk a lot. So I
yes, he
just thought
did.
Troy Vincent was a really good fit for
Huh?
Wisconsin and for the Packers, and I couldn't believe
Yeah,
that we picked uh,
yeah,
Terrell Buckley when he was still on the board. So, but I just figured I'd bring that up. But
and
congratulations
yeah,
to him, to Troy Vincent.
yes,
Uh,
congratulations.
so before we get to the not so good Packers news of a Packers defeat at the hands of the Detroit Lions, and that was a real gut punch.
Mm,
I wanted to mention the NFC playoff picture quickly. The Packers, of course,
yeah,
did not make the playoffs. With the
no,
loss, the Packers let the
no!
Seahawks make the playoffs. That's another gut punch. John and I hate,
Welcome, punch.
I
We
repeat,
do that one.
hate Pete Carroll and the
Oh, that
Seahawks.
guy.
They are not beating the 49ers on Saturday, by
Not
the
a
way.
chance.
I would expect them to get beat by at least 2 to 3 touchdowns. The odds makers right now are picking the 49ers to win by 10. So beside the Tampa Bay uh, Dallas game, it may be the most unwatchable game in the wild card
Mhm.
round, thanks to Pete Carroll's antiquated and vanilla offensive game
Yeah,
plans. We
yeah.
hate you, Pete Carroll. We hate you. Tom Brady, since we mentioned Tampa Bay before, just like to say that. So please lose to the Cowboys, Tom Brady, so that I do not
Yes.
have to watch you deliver a pass under 2 seconds and
Mm,
within 5 yards of the line of
5
scrimmage
yards.
again. Boring.
When yeah.
Yeah. So I
I
think, John,
mean,
we're on to our game review.
yeah, we're on to our game review. Just really quick, one thing I wanna say, how in the hell does an 8 and 9 team get in the playoffs? We need to stop that. We need to have teams that are above 500 in the playoffs. Enough said, because that's something I know the NFL is looking at, probably not gonna do anything about it in the near future. So, let's move on to game review, okay? Okay, so why does this keep happening? Right, Andy?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Again, Aaron Rodgers is my guy. I've said that a million times on this podcast. But I want to share with you some interesting, disturbing trends regarding Rodgers. One thing too is I'll get to this here in a second. But the other thing about LaFleur, doesn't he remind you of McCarthy Packer fans and Andy? What do we do when McCarthy was in the 2014 NFC Championship game? I know I'm bringing up worse things. What happened? We
Mm,
could not finish. We could not do anything to just ram it down their throats and just say, enough's enough. That game was ours. So just LaFleur and McCarthy, they went to the same school or play at the same playbook is we allow teams to stick around. We don't do anything to make the right play calling, and either we wind up winning the game barely or losing by a couple points or losing in overtime. So here's the thing. You're a Detroit player, right? And you just learned you have nothing to play for. You're out, right? They're they're not going to go to the playoffs. And I heard the Detroit players say, I don't know which one, but on one of the broadcast networks, this is the difference. I can't believe this. But Detroit players basically said this: if we can't go to the playoffs, neither can you, and we're gonna stop you. So the Lions played like a bully, right, on the playground. And you know how you've ever been bullied, and they won't let you go, and you're trying to struggle and get away no matter how hard you try to escape. You just can't get away. Hey, that's the way the Lions were treating us. Their corners were all over our receivers. Their linebackers were making plays. Keeson Nixon, who was just blowing things up, barely got 10, 12 yards return. I mean, the whole team played just out of their mind with nothing, and I repeat, nothing to play for. And one thing, though, I want to make sure people understand moving forward. Detroit is no baby lion anymore. They are full grown lion. Okay. They have the 6th and the 18th pick in this year's 2023 draft. Okay. Plus their other picks. So they can go out and get corners. They can go out and get a team. And that's going to be really dangerous. So, I mean, just that really quick, I think is really interesting to talk about, Andy. But before we get to you, this is something I found online from, I believe, Pro Football Focus again. So this is Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, and I can't believe this. Aaron Rodgers' fourth quarter over the past 3 games, and all 3 games were at home. Okay. 2021 divisional game versus San Francisco, fourth quarter, 4 for 11, 54 yards with a passer rating of 52.8, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions. Week 18 versus Detroit, 4 for 7, 17 yards, 0 TDs, 0 interceptions, 62.2 passer rating. So this combined, okay, this he was I forgot one. Let me go back here. Just really quickly here. So one of the things, in the fourth quarter, he was 2 for 6, 12 yards, 0 TDs, 1 interception, and 2.8% passer rating in the Detroit game. In the divisional game against San Francisco, he was 4 for 11, 54 yards, like I said, 52.8. So if you put this all together, what he's done in all 3 games at home is he's 10 for 24, 83 yards, 0 TDs, 1 interception, a 33.9 passer rating. Like, that's awful for a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's just unbelievable. So even without the stats, you can see that in the fourth quarter, Aaron Rodgers is no longer Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be that guy. And so you don't think someone on the Packers staff doesn't have these numbers and kind of go, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to run. We got to, do something a little bit more creative. We got to, you're right? No, they sit there and let Aaron Rodgers completely melt down and continue to have these terrible numbers. So with me, one thing when I was watching the game was You can't let your Hall of Fame quarterback try to take over a game when he can't take over a game anymore, you know? And you can say, well, again, everybody brings up Tom Brady. Oh, he gets him down the field, dinking and dunking. Okay, so why aren't we doing that? I don't know. The Detroit Lions in the fourth quarter was running plays that you're like, why are you running that play? They were running a hook and ladder. A hook and ladder. We would never do that, right? That's creative, right? Also, they ran that play on 4th and 2 to seal the game where the receiver just ran out, boom, threw it to him, 5-yard gain, win the game, over. We don't do that. Aaron Rodgers drops back, nobody's open. He throws it into double coverage or he throws it over somebody's head. And you're like, why aren't you taking Aaron Rodgers and being like, okay, let's go from the Tom Brady playbook and let's just dump it off to the running back. And I just that's the part that really got me, that they know these numbers and they know that they're not good. Why are you continuing to do this? So anyway, I'm going to let Andy talk about this in a little more depth. So Andy, you want to take it off here and tell about your game?
That was awesome, John. Very enlightening.
Yeah.
Very enlightening. Brutal stats. Brutal.
Yeah.
So football fans, Packer fans, John, just want to read this anonymous quote. And these are not my words. So what I want you to do is to think of who might be saying this. I know I'm saying it, but it's an athlete. And I think this kind of is very interesting what he says. Sorry, I said he, so I gave part of it away.
Well, I'm guessing it's a he.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is. I think that at the start of a game, you're always playing to win. And then maybe if you're ahead late in the game, you're starting to playing not to lose. The true competitors, though, are the ones who always play to win. So, John, any guess who is quoted saying that?
I'm going to say Dan Campbell, coach of
Yeah,
Lions.
that would be a very good guess. It was actually Tom Brady.
Oh,
And
of course it was.
Yeah. But the reason I brought it up because I was thinking of I was trying to think of the quote and I was making some notes. And if you hear me turning pages right now, I was like, play to lose, play to win. I was like, I couldn't remember what the quote was.
Right. Sure.
And so I found this one, and it really does kind of go back to what you were saying. All the troubles that Rodgers is having in the fourth quarter. What the troubles were of the Packers, they were like they weren't playing to win.
No.
They were afraid basically to lose the game. So they're trying to do everything not to lose it. So again, and we're talking about, he's talking about true competitors are the ones who always play to win. So again, that says a lot about, I think, Aaron Rodgers maybe, and a little bit about our team. And we're going to talk about a little bit about this later on, and some of the things maybe we can do in the future as an organization, to maybe correct some of this. But that's kind of a telling quote, isn't it, John?
Yes, it is. Very telling.
So, John, listening to what you said reminds me of what we talked about the lack of killer instinct that Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers have exhibited lately.
Yeah.
I guess the Lions had it on Sunday.
Right. They did.
You could say that the Lions were the hunters and the Packers were their prey.
Absolutely.
That leads me to my story about some of the comments that were made back in week 9 by a 4-time NFL MVP and future Hall of Fame quarterback. After our 15-9 loss to the Lions, Aaron Rodgers said something to the effect that you cannot lose to a team like this. Well, Aaron, you cannot say that about any team in the NFL and get away with it.
Right.
Sometimes your words come back to bite you, to haunt you. Any team can beat any other team on any given Sunday. Your words were bulletin board material for Detroit and motivated them to kick your butt. If you are going to speak those words, then back them up by playing the best game of your career and making the Lions look bad.
Yeah.
Packers fans know that you did not. Aaron, you set us up to fail. So I did want to speak a little bit about the game, and hats off to the Lions. Whatever cliche you want to use, they did a great job, and they played a clean game. They didn't have any turnovers. John and I talked in the last podcast about you have to pressure Goff, try to get him to make a mistake, interception, fumble, whatever. We didn't put enough pressure on him. Just to let you know. And basically, kudos to the Lions. They played a clean game.
Absolutely.
Clean game. Their red zone efficiency was awesome. Ours was not. So they were able to score touchdowns in the red zone. And so great job there. There was fantastic coaching on defense. The defensive coach pressured Rodgers when he had to. When it most mattered, and got to him and frustrated him. And then on the offensive coach, the offensive coordinator, his play calling was totally awesome. And his name, I believe, is Ben Johnson. He's up for at least 3 coaching positions right now, and probably more. So kudos to, great job. And then the head coach, Dan Campbell, again, motivating his team to come in and say, we are going to take it to the Packers. We're going to show them that we are a very good team, and we're going to beat their butts. So great job to him, having his team ready to play. Unlike the Packers, the Packers coach, but we'll get into that later. So the Packers had a couple turnovers. It could have been more because there was another Rodgers interception that called back because of a penalty or whatever. So that we had one interception and we had one fumble, but they were key plays, key turnovers at the worst possible times.
And what's with Aaron Jones lately? I mean, in the NFC Championship game in Tampa Bay, boom, costly fumble. In this game, costly fumble. I mean, I get it, you get smacked, but come on, man. You know that's coming. These guys were hitting you all damn game. So
and I wasn't going to say anything, John, because we don't want this to be 2 hours, but
well, I got
Aaron Jones, there's a good chance he's not going to be with us next year because in the biggest games, he has just cost us dearly with his fumbling issues, and you cannot have that in those type of games. Big momentum swings. We'll get into that a little bit later. That's if we want to, but so again, the Packers are the worst in the league in goal-to-goal situations. And I think their percentage, I want to say, is like 55%, which is actually the worst in the league. And we could not punch the ball in when we needed to. So I don't know what the deal is there. I don't even want to speculate, but that was, again, another reason that we lost. The Packers weren't able to punch it in, and the Lions were. Jamal Williams, great job by him, scored a couple touchdowns, former Packer. So, and then poor coaching decisions. And we'll get into this later on. I mean, they were out. They were out coached.
Let's go right into your venting because this is kind of tied together.
Okay.
You're venting for Packer Nation. Andy, take it away.
Yeah, is this the off the rails section that we're gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do off the rails. This is
I was hoping
for you,
almost
Packer Nation.
John, we try to stay positive on this podcast, but man, sometimes it's just really, really tough after witnessing the last game. So anyway, according to Packers Wire segment in usatoday.com, it mentioned a few plays that doomed. I'll repeat that, doomed the Packers during their season-ending loss to the Lions 20-16. So there was one play involving a very bad coaching decision that was by LaFleur, by the way. In the first quarter, the Packers were up 3-0. It was 4th and 1. LaFleur decides to go for it at the Green Bay, our own 32-yard line. Our 32. Right. I'm just going to pause.
Yeah,
32-yard line.
You need to punt, right?
The Packers inexplicably go for it. Alan Lazard rushed to the left for a 1-yard loss.
Yeah.
So basically, this is where I'm going to start the vent. What the hell was LaFleur thinking?
I don't know.
What kind of play call was that? And why not give it to a playmaker like Christian Watson instead of Alan Lazard?
Absolutely.
By going for it so soon in the game, you're telling the defense that you don't trust them, that you think that you're going to have to score a lot of points on offense. The Packers were leading. There was no need to do that. Just punt the damn ball, just like John just said before. I couldn't believe it. I had no idea.
I
thought LaFleur became the head coach for the Chargers for a second. Staley, go for it on like their own 20-some yard line, like he did in one of the games. I'm like, that was like a 4th and 4, 4th and 5. That was even worse.
That was just much longer.
Just stupid. So John, your thoughts quick on that stupid decision, because it was stupid.
Yeah. So thanks, Andy. It was stupid.
It was
dumb. So here's what I'm talking about. McCarthy LaFleur, right? Here's the thing. Okay, he outthinks the room. Sometimes, what I like to say, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, you know what I mean? It's a duck. So you just, stop making these crazy plays when you go, oh, wait a minute. I got 2 running backs, plus I have a quarterback that can sneak it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Sneak. Oh, no, I'm going to run a power left. Oh, right? What the hell? It's football. Put your damn hand in the ground and kick his ass. I mean, what are we doing? And they run that play. I'm just like, are you trying to be cute? Is this like you trying to get points for cuteness? Or, come on, man. What are we doing? Right? So let's go into, I'm going to, we already talked about the Aaron Jones fumble. So let's kind of skip around that, because we know the Packers could have been up. Maybe,
momentum swing. Another play that was...
and they could have scored a touchdown, possibly, or kick a field goal. Here's the play I want to go to. So I'm moving ahead here, Andy, for you.
Okay.
Where the costly drop at the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Oh, you want me to do that one?
To Romeo Doubs. Talk about that one.
Okay, so it's the beginning of the 4th quarter, right at the beginning. The Packers retook the lead at 16-13. It was 2nd and 6 at the Green Bay 36. The Packers had a chance to go down the field and take control of the game. Aaron Rodgers threw a terrific ball down the far sideline to Romeo Doubs, but the rookie couldn't haul it in. It was an absolutely unbelievable throw by Aaron. 2 plays later, the Packers punted. The Lions then went right down the field on their next possession and scored a TD to take the lead 20-16. Romeo should have made the catch. The defender was close, but not so close that he couldn't have made the catch. I don't know. It didn't even look like he saw the ball, or
he didn't.
The ball was just all of a sudden, it just flings right past him. And it's like, why aren't your hands up? Why aren't you looking for the ball? It's right there. And that's one of those amazing throws again that you saw Devontae Adams make all the time. Yeah. And we missed on it. Yeah. Gosh. Man, so he makes that play. That might have been the turning point in the game right there.
Yeah. So let's talk about Quay Walker and
the bonehead penalty he had.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
There are a few bonehead penalties. I didn't
But
write all those
that
down or
one,
do
that
those, but
one was big.
that one's
Yeah.
probably the number one.
Yeah.
Okay. So during the same fourth quarter scoring drive that the Lions had that we talked about, that where they came right down the field and scored their 20th point, Quay Walker might have committed one of the worst penalties in recent Packers history. Walker, who was ejected from a game, remember this, Packer fans, a game earlier in Buffalo, earlier this season, pushed a member of the Lions medical personnel who was attempting to care for running back DeAndre Swift on the field. Especially with everything that happened this past week, that's not a very good, smart move anyway. Moving on. So the penalty gave the Lions a new set of downs, moved the football to the 4-yard line, and disqualified Walker from the contest, who's like our leading tackler on the season. You know, so big loss. 3 plays later, former Packers running back Jamal Williams plunged into the end zone. That would end up being the final score again of the contest. So he also broke Barry Sanders' record for touchdowns in a season.
Yeah, Barry Sanders, my guy, man. I love Barry Sanders.
I know. I figured I'd just bring it up, trying to stay positive. But you know, him being a former Packers running back, he had over 1,000 yards this season. So great job, Jamal. And you know,
awesome
he scored a couple of touchdowns in the game, and he scored in the red zone, where for some reason Dillon can't. And Jones can't, and the rest of the Packers players on offense.
Packers can't. Yeah, it's just not those two. It's everybody.
Bad blocking too. I think they had that defensive end. His last name, I think, is Butts or something. And that guy made 2 plays and just
he's manhandling.
Okay. Moving on.
Manhandling Jenkins, who's our all-pro guy that just get a big fat contract. Was throwing him out of the way like he throw me out of the way.
Right. Woo. Yeah. So any deep thoughts on that brain fart that he had? And you know, he's going into the tunnel crying and all that. I don't whatever. I mean,
there's something and I get it. I mean, I feel sorry for the kid because, it's just you're in that moment of the game, and it's kind of like if you've had like an argument with somebody, and then like especially if you're a father. So this is for me and Andy, or you fathers out there, is like maybe you get into an argument with the wife, and then like one of your kids comes up and says, "Hey dad, can we go for ice cream or something?" And you just will snap at him like, "We're not going for ice cream." It's kind of like when football, you're just raw, all the time, just ready to go. And then some guy comes along, and if you watch the film, I'm not blaming anybody, but he kind of pushed Quay Walker when, I don't know, maybe he said, "Excuse me," and Quay Walker didn't move. So he pushed him. Well, you don't push a guy who's 6'3" and 250. And he's nothing but muscle. Maybe he should have been like waiting there, and maybe the ref, sure, we can go back and rehash everything. But my thing is, these are just some of the bigger, there were 7 different plays I know Andy found in this article, but these are just some of the biggest ones. So anyway, in conclusion,
so incredibly.
Why don't you talk about what else happened here?
Yeah, incredibly stupid penalties. The one by Quay Walker and one by Rasul Douglas earlier in the game, which we didn't talk about. Costly turnovers, the fumble by Aaron Jones, and one Aaron Rodgers interception that could have been, a couple of them, but that is his last pass, possibly at Lambeau Field at the end of the game. And missed opportunities provided the difference between winning and losing. So according to Packers Wire again and USAtoday.com, the Packers stunning, this is their words, the Packers stunning season-end defeat played all the hits of a disappointing 2022 season. This harkens me back to our Platteville days, John, with broadcasting or something, playing the hits here. So by the hits, author John Kruse, I believe it is, or Kruse, Kruse,
Sure.
That's his name. The author referred to all of the drops, the miscues, the misfires, the penalties, and the missed tackles. So all of that and more cost the Packers a trip to the postseason. I did want to say on a positive note, the fans showed up. Great job, Packer fans. We were doing our job and supporting the team. It's just too bad that the Packers are having problems winning games that matter. And with that, we transition into the first of two. Actually, the only Packer Blitz.
We're gonna do one topic.
Yeah.
We had a lot to talk about. But
So take it away, John. We got the topic of the week.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Andy. Again, we're all disappointed in everything, and like I said, I mean, we're just seeing this all over again, and like we just talked about it, and just know that hopefully we can get past this and we can finish games. We can do better. So that leads us into the reasons why the Packers cannot win the big game anymore, right? So one of the things I've shared with the Rodgers stats above, how horrible he is in the fourth quarter, and with our inconsistent defense, special teams, even though they played better, still they weren't not nearly as good as against Minnesota, and the play calling, the lack of energy, and just it just seems weird to me that we keep coming back to this with LaFleur. And whether we want to talk about the 2019 San Francisco game, where San Francisco is still running on us, to the Tom Brady
Mostert is,
and the decision where I think we were on the 8-yard line, and rather than try to punch it in, we kick a field goal. The defense before in the NFC Championship game against the Buccaneers, where we go into a mid-zone coverage, and that Scotty, whatever his name is,
Miller
runs right past us, and they score a touchdown. And again, that comes back to the Tom Brady quote. He could have just laid up and just gone down the field and kicked the field goal. But his thing was, I'm going to get a touchdown. And he did. Why the Packers don't do that, I don't know. And that's, I think, one of the reasons is why we continue to not be able to win the big game anymore. And that, the Super Bowl is different. So let me just really quickly. A big game sure is a Super Bowl. But in the Super Bowl, a lot of things can happen, and there's just it's so much going on, and it's different, right? It's a Super Bowl. However, we're talking about a divisional playoff game last year where we can't even punt the ball against San Francisco without them blocking the punt or blocking a field goal. I mean, talking about just things that by that time you should be able to do in your sleep. And whether it's coaching, whether it's Rodgers not in the frame of mind or whatever, and it harkens back to Brett Favre days, right? Where I go back to the Vikings, you Minnesota fans listening, you remember that. I believe it was in 2014, 2012, where they lost, 2010, where they lost the NFC Championship, 2011, where they lost the NFC Championship game to the Saints. I believe that was that year. And I remember the Vikings not playing very well, and Adrian Peterson fumbling the ball and everything. And they're starting to come back. And I turned, and I was just watching the TV, and I just looked at the TV and I said, Favre's going to throw an interception. Here it comes. And immediately after that, he threw an interception and lost the game. And it's like, again, wait a minute. We have Aaron Rodgers. He is the least intercepted quarterback of all time, and he's making Favre mistakes. So I just don't know what to say is the major issue. I just think it's so many, and I don't know if we can fix them in order to get back to the Super Bowl. I hope we can, because they are fixable. That's the good thing. You can fix these things. So, Andy, why don't you go on to what you think is wrong with why the Packers can't win the big game anymore?
Yeah, before I do that, John, I'm going to kind of turn it back to you for just a second. So I just started writing some things down earlier today, and you
Yeah.
you kind of it kind of struck a chord with me, so to speak. So
Okay.
you're talking
Good.
about energy. Well, that was
Yeah.
one of the ones on my list. Commitment,
Oh,
passion,
good one. Good
e-
one.
emotion.
Yeah.
Where were those? so
I know.
I'm gonna give it back to you for just a second. Do you have anything to add on that? Because I was trying to
Yeah.
think of words that
Sure.
just sprung to mind, and then once you said energy, I'm like, yeah, the Packers kind of didn't have the same
No.
energy that they had
No.
against the Vikings the week
No.
before, and they had
Right.
more on the line. Like where was that? The fans were
Right.
passionate. The fans had energy. We're committed. We're showing emotion. We're doing it right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right. We're
Where
right. We're
where is all
frustrated.
that?
We're
From our players, from our coaches, and to
who
listen to even LaFleur, he is just so almost stoic and unemotional at times.
yeah.
It's like,
So
can somebody light a fire somewhere? Can
yeah.
somebody spark that energy? Because they come out of halftime a lot of times and they just lay an egg or they're just
Yeah.
flat.
They
That's
just
his
can't.
job.
Right.
His job is to motivate his team. Dan Campbell can do it.
Yeah.
So, oh,
So
sorry,
let me no,
I'm
no,
just
let
rambling
me
now.
get
But go
let
for
me
it, John. Is there anything else you want to add on
yeah,
that? I
yeah,
just
yeah.
figured I'd mention it.
So yeah. So anyway, let me just quickly just get into this. So they were talking to they always do that stupid halftime talk to the coaches before they send them back to the team. And the reporter asked the LaFleur, "So what did you tell your team?" And LaFleur was like, "Well, I told him we got 30 minutes to get this and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, I get you." What what he should have said was, and this is if I was the coach, by the way. What he should have said was, we're not going to lose this game. I told our team we're going to the playoffs and we're going to make this happen and we'll die trying out there or something to that effect, where you would be like, whoa, this guy is like, man, holy crap. Like Dan Campbell one time when he took over the Lions, he said, we're going to bite people's kneecaps. And we're going to, everybody's like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Uh-oh. But his point is, hey, we're going to punch you and then we're going to punch you again. And then when you get up, we're going to punch you again. you know, yeah, I can get behind that. A player can get behind that where and you saw that from the Lions where they're like, again, like I said, like a bully, don't let go of your arm. They were like, you're not going, we're not going. Nobody's going. We're gonna beat you. And the Packers should have responded like, no, we're going, man. Get out of my way. You need to get out of my way. Right?
Yep.
And that's like a bully. You punch him in the mouth. I don't condone that, by the way. But if you have a bully, how they back down is you stand up to them. And they did not stand up. So now what you're saying about passion and energy, it's more about like having the courage and just having that power within and taking that, like I said, to inflict your will on the other guy where there's just nothing left for them to do. And that's not a one word, obviously, but just that will, just that grit. I got it. Grit, right? When you're deep down and you just need to get through the day, whatever you're doing, you just have that grit and you just push through and you make it happen. So that's what I want to kind of bring up. So, what other points did you bring up with that? Talking about other Packer players, obviously, who've been on this team and what their thoughts were.
Yeah. So again, back to what the topic was.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah,
reminder, to everybody, the Packers cannot win big games anymore. Why is that? What are the reasons
Right.
for that? So my number one reason was the Packers team has a leadership problem. The
Right.
Packers players need to start by leading by example. A team leader like defensive back, cornerback, safety Charles Woodson, Packers defensive star from 2006 to 2012, who was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2012,
Mm,
and wouldn't be putting up with all the crap
yeah.
Packers fans have been witnessing on the field. So just listen to this quote from Charles Woodson about team. This is Charles talking. It's bigger than me. If you understand that, you understand that it's bigger than you too. It ain't about one individual. It never is. We can never get done what we want to accomplish with one individual. It's bigger than you, but it ain't bigger than us. So the Packers,
Love
really
that.
need more teammates like Charles Woodson. The team
Sure do.
needs leaders on offense, defense, and special teams. I'll just leave it at that. That's awesome quote from him.
Yeah.
So the second reason, that we're having some issues there with winning the big game, like John had mentioned earlier, Aaron Rodgers has not played well in big games, especially in the playoffs at Lambeau. Aaron has been consistently in the top 3 quarterbacks all time for QBR, with a passer rating of over 100. But his quarterback rating drops about half in the fourth.
Lower than that.
Yeah, more than that. So then the third reason, that we're not winning the big games again is really poor game management and decision making by our head coaches and by our coaches in general.
Right.
I'm gonna be really non-specific on this, John, and Packers fans all over the world with what I'm about to say. And all of you who watch Packers football will remember the games and the situations I'm talking about without me telling you exactly what happened. Matt LaFleur needs to watch the weather forecast or check the wind speed direction and figure out when to kick a field goal. He needs to know the maximum distance that Mason Crosby can successfully make a kick from in pregame warmups. Matt LaFleur needs to use logic like Spock did on Star Trek.
Hey, like Spock.
To make decisions on when to go for it on 4th and 1. Matt LaFleur needs to call the correct play on 4th and 1 and hand it off or throw it to the right playmaker. Maybe even give Rodgers the directive to sneak it immediately before the defense can adjust. Matt LaFleur needs to take an NFL coaching 101 class on when to throw a challenge flag and not lose a timeout. Finally, Matt LaFleur needs to remember that what the identity of his offense is: 55 to maybe 60% run, 45% pass, and stick to that winning formula when calling offensive plays. And yes, if you all noticed, I'm calling out Matt LaFleur.
Yeah, that's super funny because I think Matt LaFleur is saying this right now to Goody tonight.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you?
So that's
people?
That's from Office Space. I have people skills.
That's
What's
perfect.
wrong with you people?
Yeah, that's perfect, John.
So, oh, by the way, did you say Spock? Did you say Spock, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was I wrong?
You are a huge nerd.
No, you're a huge nerd.
Sorry.
Oh my, we're
Sorry,
huge
Packers
nerds on here.
fans. I'm a sci-fi nut, so.
Anyway, so we're going to talk about later here because we're going to end the show because we have so much and we're so passionate. We're going to blow up here, I think. So one of our topics was the 2022 season doomed from the start. We're going to do a year-end review, Andy and I. That might be a little bit longer episode, people, but I'm guarantee you'll love it because I think Andy and I, again, remember we saw the worst football of the 80s in the 80s. And we don't want to see that again, right, Andy?
No, we do not.
No. Okay, so we're going to end the show right now because we talked about a lot. We had a lot of passion, and we could talk on for another hour if we wanted to. But in the end of year review, we'll talk about that. One of the things I wanted to say is, we want to have like a live session of when the Packers draft, because this draft, I think, Andy, will define the Packers over the next, I think, 5 years. Maybe I could be wrong. But that being said, Andy, why don't you take us out of here?
Okay, John. We're at double-digit episodes now for Packers Blitz. Congrats, John, on that.
Congrats, Andy.
It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you all for joining us. And John and I are so very sorry for all of the bad news.
Yeah.
And for the end to the Packers 2022-2023 season, more 2022 than 23.
There we go.
But, thank you very much, Packer fans.
Yes.
We still love the Packers, and we really appreciate all the love and support that all of you out there gave them this season. Hopefully, the 2023 into 2024 season will bring Packers Nation another Super Bowl.
Yes.
Don't worry, John and I are looking forward to doing many more episodes of Packers Blitz. Thank you, John. We'll talk Packers football again really soon.
Really soon. Like I said, we'll do end of year review just really quickly. Please send us some emails because we want to hear from you fans. And the email is packersblitz80@gmail.com. We're also on YouTube. Again, you don't see our beautiful faces, but hit subscribe, listen to our podcast, and we look forward to doing next week the year-end interview. And again, we love you, Packer fans. And Andy, you have a great week, and we'll talk later.
You too, John. Take care.
Take care, buddy.